They and pronouns.
Hi, I'm Christopher Cortez. I use he, him pronouns.
So, for your first question, KP has a fluctuating balance of funds. How will you maintain stability in making sure that we have enough funds throughout the school year?
So one goal of mine is that I really want to try to get funding earlier, like during fall quarter, because I feel like since there's a more active like KP attendance and um, like there's more people, I feel like fundraisers might be more successful. Like there will be more successful fundraisers during fall quarter as well as like like in terms of attendance. Um, so that's one thing I have in mind. Um, can you repeat the question?
KP has a fluctuating balance of funds. How will you maintain stability in making sure that we have enough funds throughout the school year?
Okay. Another thing I've been looking into is funding from school sources. So I've gotten a little bit more familiar with it over the past few weeks, and I feel like if events are planned out ahead enough in advance, you're able to apply for funding from the colleges or AS or other like departments, um, and I think it'd be good to try to like push board members to plan their events further in advance in terms of what they might be expecting to buy for the events that they have, so that they can we can buy we can get things from the school and try to lower our own personal like KP cost.
As an executive position, the Vice Chair of Finance assists with not only their own position requirements, but also assisting other board members with their events. What experience do you have with supporting others while sustaining yourself in your own work?
In terms of supporting other events, I've helped out with KP Christmas in fall quarter, and I've also done a few tasks for other events. I've also tried to show up to as much as I've been able, like whatever is in my capacity, and help with check-in, or if um, if they reach out and I'm able to, I'll help out with like icebreakers if I'm able to. Um, I feel like a lot of my position currently has been about board support and showing up and helping out when people need. And I feel like I'll be able to continue that next year as well, on top of my own responsibilities, especially in terms of I already have the experience of doing that, so it's more of a continuation of what I've been doing instead of trying to figure it out all again like I did this year.
During the school year, many fundraisers go on simultaneously through all three boards. How will you ensure that fundraisers are not competing with each other and people are aware of the ones being held?
So this is something I've been thinking about pretty often, and one thing I want to try to do is have more fundraisers during fall quarter to lessen the load of like 4 weeks in a row during winter and spring quarters. Because I feel like that puts too much pressure on the individuals within KP of, oh, there's this fundraiser, but oh, there's a fundraiser like next week. Like if they're like not able to support both, or if they don't want to. Like I don't want them to have to pick and choose between supporting like maybe their friends' events or something that they're interested in rather than just supporting the club to support the club. And so that's one thing I want to focus on is spreading it out throughout earlier in the year. And then on top of that, I want to try to implement a like due date, kind of how the school has like when you apply for school funding, you have to do it like 2 or 3 weeks in advance. I feel like it'd be helpful to have that sort of thing, at least a minimum in name, to put pressure on the board members to plan out their events their fundraisers more in advance, so that like KP isn't just surprised that, oh, we have a fundraiser like that we want in like 2 weeks, like is it available? Like to try to really keep open communication about having those fundraisers so that they're not like occurring simultaneously or like week after week.
As VCF, you serve as an exec or a leader among leaders. How would you hold accountability to the rest of your board with it also being your first year on board with this position?
Could you repeat the question?
As VCF, you serve an exec or a leader among leaders. How would you hold accountability to the rest of your board with it also being your first year on board with this position?
So I believe that you should really try to have open communication about your capacity. So if you're not able to have as much capacity and you're anticipating it, like to try to communicate that when, like as soon as you know, or like when you feel that you have less capacity than you wanted to, like try to communicate that as well. Could you repeat the question?
As VCF, you serve and as an exec or a leader among leaders. How would you hold accountability to the rest of your board with it also being your first year on board with this position?
So along with that open communication, so you should try to like check in when you. So I will try to check in with whoever when I feel like they haven't been meeting maybe their own expectations or meeting the expectations of other people, especially if they have an event that's like collaborative with multiple people, and then see how they're doing. Just see if they're able to contribute as much as they want to. Just like support them as a person so that they're able to support themselves in the role that they want to perform.
This is your last question. In the past, KP has used financial statements spreadsheet to accurately and diligently log fundraiser details, cash flows, and net profits. What new ideas do you have to organize and maintain KP's financial health?
Something I've been thinking about is like looking at the profitability of certain fundraisers compared to others, as well as like the efforts that are required to put in. So I know that like the profitability of like fundraisers that where you create something, like let's say like Asian Night Market, we sold food. We were able to get a much higher return on investment on those fundraisers as opposed to like fundraisers with businesses. Because the first fundraiser that I did with a business, I think it was Yogurt World. I saw so many people going, and it did really well. But after that fundraiser, I realized how much less successful in terms of money that goes back to the org that fundraisers with businesses are than compared to other ones. So I feel like those are definitely helpful, but they're more helpful when there's less capacity from like me or anyone else who wants to work on the fundraiser to like make money from fundraisers. So I feel like if I'm able to, I want to definitely focus on like fundraisers where we make something, because they're a lot more a lot of the money that our members spend go back to the club instead of like only like 10 or 20%.
So those are your 5 questions. You are done with the interview, but do you have any questions for us?
Do you have any advice on balancing your capacity within your role, your position, and your capacity within other parts of your life? Because I know that's the most intimidating part of.
I don't know. I think part of it, I kind of just got lucky with who the other chairs and execs were. So I feel like you should really build on that relationship very soon. I know for us, we had very informal things that we've done together, and like even before school started, just to start that relationship. Also, the same thing with your potential ops manager if you get the position. Having that open communication with them, and seeing also this is kind of a cop out, but asking what they want to do. Ooh, that'll be something new. But like asking what they want to do, see what they wanted, like what ideas they have, so you don't have to put in as much brain power on yourself. That's all I can think of right now. But,
I also want to add on boundaries. It can be really difficult, especially when you really, really want to help everyone else. I know personally I struggle a lot with like not just establishing them, but like staying true to my word to myself. But just remembering that like you can't get to everyone. And the analogy that I would kind of like to think of is that you're juggling so many different like balloons, but some are made of glass and some are made of rubber. So which ones are made of glass and you can't like drop those, and which ones are made of rubber and can you pick up on later? That's in the recording.
any other questions?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.